Hi again, Panther fans, and welcome to episode 109 of the Panther Insider Podcast, driven by Ford. This is Dave Cohen, the radio voice of the Panthers, and this week we're talking about the brand new Georgia State Convocation Center here on campus. It'll be the new home of Georgia State men's and women's basketball starting this season. And it has been a process from acquiring the property all the way through the recent ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open the building. And on this podcast, we're going to talk with Nick Books. He's the Director of Facilities and Operations, and he is the man in charge here of the Convocation Center. And we're going to talk to him about the process of getting this building ready to open and for the coming season. Now, basketball practice is underway here at Georgia State. No one is looking more forward to getting his team on the floor. The new head coach, Jonas Hayes. His Panthers will practice and then play an exhibition game October 31st before opening the regular season November the 7th. And we'll talk to Coach Hayes in the second half of this latest Panther Insider podcast. Before we get to our guests this week, we want to thank all of our Georgia State fans who have subscribed, rated, and reviewed our first 108 shows. If you've missed any of our previous Panther Insider podcasts, they're all available on our Apple Archives page. You can access that online at georgiastatesports.com. Again, first up on the Panther Insider podcast, driven by Ford this week, Nick Books. And again, he is Director of Facilities and Operations, at least that's his title, but he's also the grand poobah of the brand new Georgia State Convocation Center. Nick, great to welcome you to the Panther Radio Insider Podcast microphones, and exciting time here. There are those of us that have been around here for a while who thought that the sports arena was going to be it forever. But look at this building. You and I are sitting courtside right now at the new Convocation Center. The floor is down, and it looks great. It's not the sports arena, is it?
It isn't. No, it's super exciting. I'm very honored to be a part of this building and help see it to fruition, and it's just the beginning, so we've got a lot of great years ahead of us.
Now, you've been at Georgia State how long? Remind me.
This is my second stint. So I've got my master's here between 2013 and 2014. Went away for a little while and was able to come back in 2016, right before the purchase and renovation of Turner Field property. So I was able to be a part of that and see that transition and grow. Even after the 2017 football season, seeing the properties around it in Summerhill come to life with the folks over at Carter that are developing those areas. And so I've been here since 2016 in my current role, and then this past August, just a month or so ago, I was able to transition over here to this building and help get this thing off the ground.
The interesting part of it, and again, folks that have followed Georgia State athletics for a long time have always known that athletics facilities, really because of where we're located in the middle of downtown Atlanta, as I've said a million times, where do you find land in the middle of downtown Atlanta to build a brand new football stadium or a brand new basketball arena? And so facilities has always been a challenge for Georgia State. And just in your time here, as you were just mentioning, with what the Atlanta Braves did and how they did it and the result of that move for the benefit of Georgia State, facilities, and you've been a part of just about all of it now, as you mentioned, the acquisition of Turner Field, the conversion to Center Park Credit Union Stadium, and now as we sit here in the brand new Convocation Center, the facilities aspect of Georgia State athletics has really taken a turn for the positive here in the last, let's say, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention 188 MLK transitioning from football to soccer, moving a couple of those programs from the Decatur campus downtown. So it's been, being someone that has been involved on the facility and event side of things, it was really, great timing for me to come back. To see so much change in such little time is really, it's very rare. I'm sure there are other campuses, at our level of athletics that have seen this change, but it's, probably been, 20, 30 years ago. And so for us to be able to do this now and me to be a part of it, I've been very lucky and thankful. And so this building, the Convocation Center, is just another iteration of that. And obviously not only for athletics, but for the rest of the student body and graduations, et cetera. So.
One thing I did want to ask you about, and we're going to go through and talk about this building at length, turning back towards Center Park Credit Union Stadium, because I get this question, and you may get it as well, and I have a pat answer for it. The building is in its third life, from Olympic Stadium for the 96 Summer Olympic Games that were here in Atlanta, and then the many years that it served as the home of the Atlanta Braves as Turner Field, and then it was Georgia State Stadium, and now it's Center Park Credit Union Stadium. But I tell people that, that building is, at least in the near future, always going to be a work in progress. I don't know that we could sit back and say, okay, the football field is done. We've played in there for, 4 or 5 years, and the building is done. How you see it now is how it's going to be in 5 years and 10 years. I see the building as an ongoing project because of the conversion process from baseball to a football stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we inherited a 20-year-old house, if you will, right? So there's always going to be bathrooms and bedrooms, if you will, that need to be renovated and need to be updated. Hopefully people have seen that. There was a large-scale 200-level bathroom renovation this past year. All of the suites were updated and brought to the 21st century. And so things like that will always happen, and there's always going to be, issues. There's going to be leaks here and there. There's going to be, drafty spots. We inherited an old house. But what I think is cool is, one, like you said, the historical piece, that we're preserving a piece of Atlanta history, that should make people very proud. And, I think it will only continue to get better as the football program grows, as other people that live in that building. Because people may not know, there are other groups that are in that facility that aren't attached to the football program. For example, ROTC. So people are benefiting from the use of that building, outside of the athletic programs.
And, of course, someday, hopefully sooner than later, and you may have better insight than I do, the baseball-softball complex on the site of the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. I don't know how close we are to eventually breaking ground, but that is the plan somewhere in the near future. So the cool aspect to it, for anybody listening that can picture this, you're driving from main campus down Capitol Ave. You're going to pass the Convocation Center on your right, which is right there at the intersection where the Olympic Flame still stands and that's Georgia State owns. And then you're going to, there's student housing going up, 755 Hank and the other complex that's over there. And then on the site of the old Fulton County Stadium, hopefully baseball, softball, and then ultimately the football stadium. It's going to really be and throw in Summerhill and throw in the public shopping center. This is really going to be quite an area when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, someday you'll be able to, maybe a fall day, go to a football game, go to a fall baseball practice, and then walk up and catch the Midnight Madness for basketball. And even if you get a little bit further, go over for a soccer game. So to have an actual athletic campus is obviously something that Georgia State hasn't had before, and so it's really exciting to see all of these pieces coming together. And I hope people will come and enjoy them because the neighborhood is super welcoming. There's the shops and the coffee shops and brewery and eateries down on Georgia Avenue that have blossomed. So this has really become not only a place that had a baseball stadium with a bunch of parking. It's a place to be and live in and come and enjoy for sure.
All right, so let's focus in on this building, the Georgia State University Convocation Center. You and I are recording this, and we are sitting courtside. Tell me a little bit about the basics of the building that someone listening has no idea. They know maybe that we've built a new convocation center for they say for basketball, a new basketball arena. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of the building that we're sitting courtside in right now.
Sure. Well, I'll juxtapose it with the sports arena. For those that are listening, maybe have been to basketball games or been to graduations there. So the sports arena capacity was about 3,500 to 4,000, depending on the floor layout. The capacity in this building is upwards of 7,500 to 8,000 if we have people on the floor. So it's over double the size of the sports arena. So when you come to an event, you could fit the sports arena just below the number of seats just below the ribbon board that they'll see. So, speaking of the ribbon boards, we've got all the state-of-the-art technology in terms of speakers and screens, and so everybody should have a great time being able to watch what they need to watch. Everyone have a great view of everything. One other thing that's different is the court is removable, and so that process has been a learning opportunity for us. and the floor design is different. We've got the parquet pattern, a la the Boston Celtics. So that's unique and fun and exciting. Let's see. Yeah, there's one concourse but 2 levels. So we've got an upper deck that looks and feels like a large arena. So getting people in here for a basketball game and getting them loud will definitely be a home field advantage. But graduations in here will take place, and so being able to allow students to come and invite all of their family to see them graduate, both in the winter and in the spring, will be a game changer, not only for the basketball programs to have this nice new arena, but for people to be able to come and bring all of their friends and family to their graduation, the most important day in their academic career, will be awesome. And we won't have to worry about any rain or thunderstorms. So,
you want to know the one thing that I'm maybe looking forward to most?
For me? Or you?
Me.
Oh, I would love to hear that. What is it?
I no longer have to field the question. So your basketball team plays on the 3rd floor of the building?
Yes. We're on ground level. Now, technically, we're kind of in the basement, because the site where it is on Capitol slopes downhill to the west where the arena sits. So we're kind of underground. But yes, when everybody comes in, they'll come in and on a normal floor. There's not as many stairs in this building as the sports arena. So all good.
No more 3rd floor walk-up gym on Decatur Street. Although I'm going to admit, I raised my hand. I've been in the sports arena since 1982, so I love the sports arena. This is going to be used, as you said, this first year is going to be the process of, getting used to being in the building, and, that first year of getting used to the operation of the building. After that, this building could be used for any number of events that may not even be Georgia State related. In other words, the building can be a revenue-producing building.
Yeah, I think the goal for this building, first and foremost, is to allow our students to graduate and to have those that they love and care about with them to do so. It's also to play basketball, win a lot of games. And then beyond that, this building really was built with the idea of being able to be a chameleon. We can remove the floor, we can bring in, an extravagant concert, or we can do other things that are fun and that would, maybe damage a basketball court if it was permanent. We've got plenty of seats for our fans to sit in. Power capabilities, technology, all state of the art. People will get to see at some of the basketball games. We got the fun lights that don't just turn on and off. They do some fun colors and fun flashing. So we'll get to have some fun with that. Esports, another thing that's growing in the U.S. and across the world. So the capabilities of hosting events like that. I think ultimately, after we take care of our students and our staff and faculty with this building, I believe that the purpose of this building is for it to not only be functional for the university, but a point of pride. People come here, whether they're associated with Georgia State or not, to enjoy some, X event. And people are very proud of how they're treated, their experience, the things that they get to see and experience here, the shows that come in. So, yes, we're definitely walking before we're running, and there's a lot to learn. There's, a lot to grow into in this building, but super excited for the capabilities and super proud of all the people that had a hand in making this. I'm not even going to start to name the people that steered the project to this point, but people associated with Georgia State should be and will be, I'm confident, very proud of what this building becomes.
Yeah, that's why I said at the beginning, from acquiring the property all the way through the recent ribbon cutting, folks that see the final product don't realize, as in any building's construction, everything that goes in to building a brand new state-of-the-art, building like we're sitting in here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always dips and turns and twists along the way with things that you run into, but Georgia State's done a great job of making this building something that we can, not only utilize for a long time, but be very proud of how it is.
All right, Nick, appreciate it. Appreciate you giving us a little audio tour of the brand new Georgia State Convocation Center. Congrats on the new position. as well. Are you still the Director of Facilities and Operations? What is your official title now here with the Convocation Center?
We went with a very simple Convocation Center manager. So,
all right. Well, congrats on that, and best of luck.
Appreciate it.
All right, I want to thank Nick Books joining us here on the opening segment of our Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. Again, exciting times here at Georgia State as he and I sit here courtside of the brand new Georgia State Convocation Center. Again, there's going to be a lot of different events held in this building, but from an athletic standpoint, at least initially, it is the brand new home of men's and women's basketball, and they will start playing in here for the 2022-23 season, so looking forward to that. And on the other side of this timeout, we'll catch up with head basketball coach Jonas Hayes. He's one of the beneficiaries and will be coaching and I'm sure pacing the sidelines here in the new Convocation Center. We'll talk to him about what the new building means, not just to him, but to the players and to the basketball program here at Georgia State. We'll catch up with Jonas Hayes following these words from Ford and Center Park Credit Union.
Even before the victory celebration is over, great teams are back at it the next day, working to get even better. The team at Ford understands how hard work and dedication pay off. Over the last 30 years, Ford Explorer has been America's best-selling SUV. In fact, all Ford SUVs, like Explorer, Escape, and Edge, are built for victory. Score a great offer today at your local Ford dealer. Based on total cumulative OEM reported U.S. sales for all SUVs from calendar year 1990 through calendar year 2019.
Center Park Credit Union, the official financial sponsor of GSU football, is proud to be a part of the Georgia State community and the Panther athletics program. Center Park provides members convenient financial services. In addition to online banking, mobile banking, and 7 Metro Atlanta branches, Center Park members have access to 5,000 co-op shared branches and 75,000 surcharge-free ATMs nationwide. To find a location near you, visit online at centerpark.org/contact, and that's park with a C. Not a member? Join today at centerpark.org. At Center Park, we help our members flourish. We're back in the Panther Insider podcast, again from the Georgia State University Convocation Center. We got some insight on the building with Nick Books, who is head of operations here at the Convocation Center. And as I said in the open, the one guy who's really can't wait to get in here is the head basketball coach of the Georgia State Panthers, and that's head coach Jonas Hayes. And we'll talk a little bit about practice and how things are coming along as you get ready for the season. You're going to play an exhibition game in here on Halloween night, October 31, and then the opener is November 7. But man, what a fantastic! You and I again sitting courtside here at the Convocation Center, and there are some of us that have been around a while, never thought we would see this, and you're coming in your first year, and you're getting a brand new building.
Yeah. So Dave, here we are. We at courtside, and what keeps going through my mind is how fortunate and blessed I am. Just like you alluded to a minute ago, you've been around here for 40 years. Never in a million years would you have imagined that the Georgia State University would have a brand new basketball facility, and it happened, and it happens in my first year. I tell you what, my staff and all of our guys are chomping at the bit to get to working in here. We just actually got through walking our players through here and our staff, and we are standing at utter amazement at this building.
As you and I were kind of kidding around the last time you joined me on the podcast, technically home for you is less than 5 miles from where we're sitting right now, and you got a brand new Convocation Center. We call it a basketball arena.
Yeah, so I tell people all the time, I'm literally a stone's throw from my home I grew up in, the high school I went to, middle school I went to, elementary school I went to, AAU basketball programs I played with, and two, growing up, I used to go to the sports arena playing pickup. It never crossed my mind that it was Georgia State was capable of having a new arena, especially how successful they've been in the heat box we used to call it back in the day. But to be the one that's leading this program, the caregiver of this program, and having the benefit of this arena, Dave, that is not lost on me, and I do understand the importance or the magnitude of this occasion. But I also don't want to take too many steps forward without paying homage to the players and the coaches that were here before us. they the ones set the tone as to what can be possible as far as a basketball success standpoint is. And they would have given everything, both their arms and legs and probably one whole eyeball and the half of the next, to have the opportunity to experience this building. So I'm thankful for the former players and coaches who gave their blood, gave their sweat, and gave their tears for this program.
Listen, as I said kiddingly with Nick, I've been in the sports arena broadcasting games since, I guess, 1982, 83. So in quotations, I love the sports arena because it's all we've ever known. But from your standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, when you're bringing kids on campus and showing them around, you're giving them the nickel tour of what it means to be a student athlete at Georgia State University. I mean, this right here is, again, it's something that we, the university in athletics, has never had before. I mean, this is a great, great selling point.
Yes, it speaks to the level of not only attention that we have, but the level of involvement and investment from our administrators to be able to have the foresight of spanning a couple of different presidential administrations with Becker and now President Blake, but also speaks to the leadership of our athletics department. And I've had a chance to work with Charlie Cobb for a couple of months now, and he is a stud. And for me, it brings me great comfort to know that atop of my head, I have a president, I have an athletics director that are aligned with what I think is possible here at Georgia State. And this building is a manifestation of that.
And you know as well as anybody, having been in college athletics, again, in our previous interview we did, you went down the list of all the different places you've worked and coached at and the facilities and so on and so forth. I mean, you know what it's like out there right now. I mean, it's, for lack of a better term in college athletics, and I'm not talking just basketball, but baseball and football and volleyball, it's an arms race. It's an arms dash facilities race. And you can never, not you personally, can never really just pull over to the side of the road and rest, because while you're doing that, the other 13 schools in the Sun Belt are building something and improving on something with regards to facilities.
On one end, our arms just got a little bit longer with this facility, but that's why we have a hashtag more. I think this program, this university, is capable of more, and we shall never rest on our laurels, because once you start resting and get complacent, that's when you start getting behind. And that's from a competition standpoint, that's from a facility standpoint, that's from a funding standpoint. And I think I'm so fortunate to work underneath the president and athletics director that I'm totally aligned with.
I know this is a podcast, it's audio, but tell fans listening a little bit about the locker room, because it's awe-inspiring when the players first walk in, and coaches, into the arena part of it. The arena part you share with everybody who's in here. You don't share necessarily the locker room. That's the inner sanctum for Georgia State basketball once you start playing in here.
So for me, that locker room physically is one of the nicest locker rooms that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of. Aesthetically, it gives our guys a space where they can be themselves. And the lounge area in our locker room is something that I'm on really, really beat my chest over, because it was one thing to have an area just to sit down and change clothes, but it's also an area where you can sit down, lounge, laugh and joke, drink a few Cokes, and look at TV. And I think that area is going to serve its purpose, and I think it's going to strengthen our camaraderie, which I think is already at a really, 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 really great place. That's just going to add to that.
As we look around, and again, you and I are sitting courtside here at the Georgia State Convocation Center, it bleeds blue because the seats are all blue, but you look at every wall and you just look around it, and everything about it says Georgia State, and for your purpose, everything about it says Georgia State basketball.
It does. It's a testament, number one, again, to the support we have, but this is a symbol of, you know what, guys, the city of Atlanta, state of Georgia, this is who we are.
And no longer, as I was kidding with Nick, we have to field the question, so you play on the third floor of a building at the corner of Decatur and Piedmont?
That thing is gone the way of the dodo bird.
But I do say, thankfully, you got to think back to the days of Georgia State. I mean, it was the former recreation building. And, again, where do you find land downtown every day to build a brand new 75, 8,000 seat convocation center? We were very fortunate to be sitting in the building that we're sitting in based on what has transpired over the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years in this area. And I'm talking about Summerhill and down by the old Turner Field, which is now Center Park Stadium.
That speaks to the vision that this university has had. Now, people don't realize the manifestation of the fruits of your labor. You don't see that overnight. That takes years and years of prior preparation and planning to get to this point. So this credit goes to many different administrations across many different years. But let me back up to going back to the old saying that we play on the third floor of a building. But that speaks to the humility that I have. That, I get to coach and do what I do what I love, and impacting lives, and hopefully be as successful as you can in a brand new building. But that, you talk about Lefty Giselle, who's a Hall of Famer, and he did what he did at this university on the third floor of a building. You talk about what Ron Hunter was able to accomplish here. You know what? He did it on the third floor of a building. You talk about Rob Lanier, what he was able to accomplish, going back-to-back Sun Belt finals, winning one, getting to a tournament, becoming very, very close, which is not good enough to beating Gonzaga, but what he accomplished on the third floor of a building. And so that speaks to the humility I have, and it will never be lost on me how fortunate we are to be able to be in this building.
Back when people told even me, in the early days, you can't win at Georgia State.
That's proof in pudding. The coaches I just alluded to, they've all found the sugar sauce, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. This place is built to win. I think the support is there. I think, we have history, and more importantly, we have recent history. And I think it is time for Georgia State, again, to stop being looked at, viewed as the little engine that could. No longer. This building, it changes the game for us.
Especially Georgia State being the largest university in the state of Georgia and a Research 1, this is the kind of facilities that you expect to see when you show up on a campus like I just described.
If you're a big-time university with big-time athletics, you know what? Look like one. We look like one.
Talking to head basketball coach Jonas Hayes. Again, we're sitting courtside in the brand new Georgia State University Convocation Center, the brand new home of Georgia State basketball. Give Panther fans an update. I was telling somebody the other day, you remember the days when basketball practice could not officially start, I think, until October 15. And you guys have already been practicing now for going on 2 weeks, something like that. I mean, those old hard set dates don't exist anymore. You've had all summer to do, private workouts and stuff, but bring Panther basketball fans up to date on how practice has been going.
I think we're right on target. I love our energy. I love our attention to detail. I love how our guys love each other and love to compete. And so we implementing the whole new system to a great number of these guys. But I'm going to tell you this, the level of concentration, I purposely create adversity to see what your thought process is under a little heat, under a little fire. And I've been very, very surprised at our guys and how they've been able to take instruction, absorb a little adversity, but then go out and make quality decisions. And I'm really loving this, guys. We're starting to get up and down a little bit 5-on-5, and the decision-makings through that chaos has been really, really good.
There's been times when I've been interviewing football coach Sean Elliott about what you just said, seeing how players react. And you've heard the old saying, sometimes players and teams will take on the personality of the coaches that are leading them, not just the head coach, but in football, position coaches, because in basketball it's 3-4 guys, including the head coach. When I say that to you, based on what you were just saying, describing what you're looking for in certain situations, when I say a team that takes on the personality of its head coach, what comes to mind for you?
All right, let me back up. And this we playing Georgia Southern. It's State, not Southern. I just want to make that clear. But I was telling Coach Jarvis maybe about a month or so ago, actually, Dave, that The one thing that I'm very, very pleased on early in this process and creating a culture that I think is going to allow us to succeed is this team is taking on my personality and next play mentality, dealing with adversity. Because a lot of people, just generally in life, they get caught up on what happens to them, and they're not able to function because they are worried about what happened to them. How are you going to respond to that? I'm going to have Charles Swindoll's quote on attitude on my wall. And for me, being able to withstand mental toughness, and if I had one of my guys say they ought to give you the definition of mental toughness, but I simply define it as the psychological hardness to all physical adversities, being able to push through, fight forward, pick yourself up off the mat, next play mentality, and they are believing in that. I'm fortunate for that.
Well, Coach, congrats on getting started here in your first season, and congrats. I know you and I didn't nail in one nail here. We didn't do anything to help put the building together, but ultimately you're gonna get to coach and pace and run down the sideline here, and I know you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting. Some of us never thought we'd see it, but it's here, and it's just a fantastic facility for Georgia State basketball, men and women.
Today is a manifestation of what you would say 40 years ago. Never in a million years I would have thought Georgia State would have a new arena. Well, this is that dream, and it's true. I'm super excited about everything that we have in front of us and the opportunity we have to make a difference.
All right, Coach, as always, appreciate it, and congrats. I know we'll talk again quite a bit and look forward to your first game, and here's going to be the exhibition game on Halloween night, October 31, and then November 7 is going to be the opener. Coastal Georgia starts for real.
We'll be ready to go, baby. We'll be ready to go.
I want to thank Georgia State's head basketball coach, Jonas Hayes, joining us here on the second segment of the Panther Insider podcast driven by Ford. We want to thank Nick Books as well. He's the Director of Facilities Operations, and he is the gentleman who is basically running this brand-new convocation center on a day-to-day basis. Again, we want to thank all Panther fans who have subscribed, rated, and reviewed. And if you get an opportunity, go ahead and take a listen and give us a review on this show, number 109. If you've missed any of our previous podcasts, again, they're all available on the Apple Archives page. You can access that online at georgiastatesports.com. So for Nick Books and for head basketball coach Jonas Hayes, Dave Cohen saying, as always, thanks for listening. This has been the Panther Insider Podcast driven by Ford.